Left of the box. Their dad died, but Toronto police didn't tell them. They want to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. We pay police officers millions and millions of dollars. Their budgets are incredible. But they didn't tell them their dad died? Police had next of kin's names and cell phone numbers, but didn't make the contact. James Taylor hadn't heard from his father, Douglas Taylor, 66, for more than a week, which wasn't uncommon. So when he went to check and visit him on February 23rd, he didn't suspect anything serious was wrong. But when he got to his dad's Toronto apartment unit, there was a police seal on the door that read, "Do not break without authorization." Panicked and confused, he called his wife, Alexandra Taylor, who called building staff to ask why the unit was sealed. That's how the family learned their father had died 11 days prior. It's just disrespectful to him because he's there in a freezer just waiting, and here we are unaware, James said. A police report obtained by the family through the Freedom of Information request shows investigators had James and his sister Christine Taylor's listed as their father's next of kin. Officers ran their cell phone numbers through an internal database and online business directory, but nothing came up. It appears there were no other attempts by police to contact them after that, according to the report. Everyone hopes to be able to live with dignity, but also have dignity in death, Christine said. I think this is felt for all of us, but that was kind of stripped away from him. How do you take on this case, and here you have somebody, you have the person's names, like, even just going to the landlord and asking the landlord what the next of kin are. Like, there are ways. They're the police. This is their job to track people down. And it's, from the sounds of it, wouldn't even have been that hard to track them down, to let them know that this had happened. After a handful of conversations with police, the family said they're still unable to get answers about why they weren't notified. So they sent a letter to the Toronto Police Service on April 4th outlining possible legal action through the family, though the family says they have no plans to move forward with it at this point. They just want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. Taylor was found dead by a neighbor on February 12th in his unit. Police found no signs of foul play, and the coroner determined he died of natural causes. The report says a search of the apartment did not yield any useful next of kin information. Taylor's family says photos of him with his children and grandchildren were displayed in the apartment, which should have been a clue he had family active in his life. The report goes on to say the apartment was sealed and Wood Green employee provided Taylor's next of kin information to the officers. The police report appears to show that officers searched for the siblings' cell phone numbers that night in an internal database, seemingly for the address, but there were no hits. So yeah, they just do a quick little 5-minute search. Can't find them. It's impossible. We can't do this. It's not going to happen. So we're just not going to try anymore because it would be so much work. I've put more effort into looking up information online than that for various different things. And the Toronto police budget is $1.189 billion. And this was too much work for them. Their names and numbers were passed on to a different officer the next day, but one digit in James' cell phone number was typed incorrectly in the report. That officer searched the numbers through another internal police database and on yellowpages.com and online business search, but nothing came up. It appears no other attempt was made to track down Taylor's children or any other family members, according to the report. The next entry in the report is 10 days later, on February 23rd. It outlines Alexandria's call to police after her husband discovered the police seal on the door. So John Sewell, a former Toronto mayor and coordinator of the Toronto Police Accountability Coalition, which works to make police more accountable to the public, says there are several more steps police could have taken to track down Taylor's children, including contacting the landlord or neighbor who called 911. He also questions why the officers didn't just call the cell phone numbers they had to deliver the news. Yeah, why not just call the numbers you saw? This is wrong. I mean, come on. We've got to have better behavior from the police when somebody's died, as Sewell said. This is an abrogation of responsibility. Police have a responsibility to act reasonably in this situation, and they have not. Police had next of kin info the same day. Wood Green. The legal letter the family sent to police was also sent to Wood Green, which runs the apartment building Taylor was living in. Yeah, that led to a domino effect. To ask the police just do a modicum of work, but they're so eager to tear down encampments and to crack down on people living with poverty. But you ask them just to do a little bit of their job, and suddenly it's just, oh, that's so much. That's so, what? Contact the landlord, knock on neighbors' doors? Are you kidding? Why? Like, just, wow. So horrible that, 11 days and they didn't know. I don't know how I would feel if I found out that, my mom passed away and nobody bothered to tell me for days and days on end. Just absolutely disgusting.